the dark chosen ones and their mysterious missions. There are whispers of them in ancient texts, hidden references in myths, and cryptic warnings in secret societies. They walk among us, unseen yet deeply felt, their presence shifting the course of history in ways most will never understand. The dark chosen ones. Who are they? What is their purpose? And more importantly, are you one of them? Because if you are, your life will never be the same again once you awaken to the truth. Most people believe that those who are chosen must be aligned with the forces of light, healers, protectors, bringers of wisdom and peace. But this is only half of the story. There exists another kind of chosen one, a force that does not bring comfort but disruption, not healing but transformation through destruction. The dark chosen ones are not here to simply exist within the world as it is. They are here to shatter illusions, dismantle false realities, and force evolution through chaos. They are the ones who walk the edge of existence, neither fully of this world nor entirely beyond it, serving a purpose that most would not dare to accept.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
If you are feeling this call, then you already know it deep inside. You have never fit in. You have always sensed something watching you, guiding you, pushing you towards something greater, even if you could never quite define it. You have faced suffering not by accident, but as a form of initiation. Pain has shaped you, darkness has refined you, and where others broke, you only became stronger. But why? What is the purpose behind all of this? Why have you been forged in fire while others have been allowed to remain asleep? The answer lies in your mission. Every dark chosen one has a mission, though most will not recognize it until they are truly ready. Some are meant to break systems, to expose corruption, to dismantle outdated structures, to tear apart illusions so that something new can rise in their place. Others are agents of chaos, not in a mindless sense, but in a way that shakes people out of complacency, forcing them to confront truths they would rather avoid. And then there are the shadow guides, those who do not operate in the open but instead work behind the scenes, influencing, manipulating, reshaping reality in ways that are nearly imperceptible to the unawakened mind. But here is the great paradox: the dark chosen ones are not evil. The world has been conditioned to fear darkness, to see it as something malevolent, something to be avoided or suppressed. But darkness is not the enemy of light. It is its counterpart. It is the force that challenges, that refines, that ensures growth by destroying what is weak or stagnant. Without darkness, there would be no evolution. Without destruction, there would be no space for new creation. The dark chosen ones are not here to spread suffering for suffering's sake. They are here to burn away what is false so that truth can emerge. But this path is not easy. To walk it means to be misunderstood. It means being feared, sometimes even hated. It means standing alone in moments of revelation, knowing things that others cannot yet comprehend. And perhaps most dangerously, it means facing the very real risk of being consumed by the darkness you wield. Because power, if unchecked, becomes corruption. And those who embrace their role as destroyers without wisdom become nothing more than mindless forces of destruction, lost in the very chaos they were meant to control. So ask yourself, do you feel the pull of this path? Have you always sensed that your purpose is different from those who seek only to heal and comfort? Have you felt the fire inside you, the knowing that you were meant to challenge, to disrupt, to force the world into something greater? And if so, are you ready to fully embrace it? Because once you do, there is no turning back. In the next part, we will dive even deeper, because knowing you are a dark chosen one is only the beginning. The real question is how to awaken your true power and control it before it controls you. Harnessing the shadow, How dark chosen ones awaken their true power without losing themselves. If you have begun to recognize that you are a dark chosen one, then the next step is the most dangerous one, awakening your true power without being consumed by it. This is where many fail. This is where those who were meant to shape destiny instead become lost within their own shadows, trapped in an endless cycle of destruction, unable to distinguish between purpose and self-destruction. Because wielding darkness is not like wielding light. Light is stable, predictable, comforting. Darkness is wild, uncontrollable, a force that does not obey unless you learn how to command it. The first thing you must understand is that your power comes from your pain. Every wound, every betrayal, every moment of suffering you have endured was never random. It was a forging process, a test to refine you into what you were meant to become. Darkness does not choose the weak. It does not call upon those who cannot endure. If you have suffered greatly, it is because you were meant to rise beyond it. But suffering alone is not enough. Pain can either break you or shape you. It is your choice which path you take. So how do you harness it? How do you take the raw energy of your darkness and turn it into something that serves your mission rather than destroys you from the inside? The first step is understanding your triggers. Every dark chosen one has moments where the chaos inside them threatens to spiral out of control. It might be rage, despair, an overwhelming sense of detachment from the world. These moments are warning signs. They are signals from your power, telling you that you are either repressing it too much or channeling it without direction. You must learn to recognize these signals instead of reacting to them blindly. The second step is mastering stillness within the storm. True power is not found in constant action, it is found in control. A dark chosen one who is always in motion, always destroying, always fighting, is not a master, they are a slave to their own chaos. The strongest warriors are those who know when to move and when to wait, when to strike and when to observe, when to unleash the storm and when to let it build. If you cannot control your own energy, how can you expect to shape the world around you? And this brings us to the most critical point. Intent matters more than action. Darkness, when used without purpose, becomes corruption. It turns into destruction for destruction's sake, rebellion without cause, chaos without transformation. But when wielded with intent, it becomes the most powerful force in existence. It becomes the fire that burns away illusion, the force that breaks chains, the energy that forces people to evolve whether they want to or not. If you do not have a clear understanding of why you wield your power, it will turn against you. So ask yourself, honestly, what is your true mission? Not just what you think it is, but what your soul is truly calling you to do. Are you a destroyer of falsehoods? A force that challenges corruption? A catalyst for transformation? Or have you allowed your pain to turn you into something that simply lashes out at the world without a deeper purpose? Because if you are lost in the latter, you are not yet in control. And until you are in control, you are not yet ready to fully awaken. The final step in harnessing your power is integration. Most people try to separate their darkness from themselves, to see it as something external, something they must battle or suppress. But this is a mistake. Your darkness is not your enemy, it is a part of you. A tool, a weapon, a source of raw, untamed energy. The only way to truly master it is to accept it fully, to stop resisting it, to understand that you are not just a being of light or dark, but beyond both. Because once you integrate your darkness, once you stop fearing your own power and instead learn to wield it with precision, something incredible happens. You stop reacting. You stop being controlled by emotions, by external forces, by the chaos of the world around you. You become the one who controls the battlefield, who dictates the flow of energy, who moves through life with an intensity that others can sense but can never quite understand. And this is where the real shift begins. because once you have harnessed your shadow, you are no longer just a dark chosen one. You are something more. You are no longer just playing a role in the grand design, you are beginning to reshape reality itself. In the next part, we will go even deeper, because wielding power is one thing, but knowing how to manipulate the unseen forces of reality to shape destiny itself is the final test. Commanding the unseen, how dark chosen ones reshape reality and bend fate to their will. Once you have harnessed your shadow, once you have accepted your role as a force of disruption, transformation, and power, you are ready for the next phase. Because true mastery goes beyond simply wielding darkness, it is about bending fate itself, shaping the unseen forces of reality to align with your will. This is what separates those who simply exist from those who command existence itself. Most people live under the illusion that reality is fixed, that fate is something predetermined, something they must passively experience. They believe in rules of society, rules of nature, rules that dictate what can and cannot be done. But the dark chosen ones understand something deeper. Rules are merely agreements made by the weak to keep themselves contained. The universe is far more malleable than most realize. Reality is not something solid, it is a field of energy, constantly shifting, constantly reacting to those who know how to influence it. And those who have awakened to their true power know that they are not here to obey reality. They are here to rewrite it. But how does one bend fate? How does one command the unseen? The first step is awareness of the hidden mechanics of existence. Reality operates on frequencies, on patterns, on subtle flows of energy that most people are blind to. Every thought, every action, every emotion sends ripples through the field of existence, creating reactions that most mistake for coincidence or luck. But there is no such thing as coincidence. There is only cause and effect, action and reaction, will and manifestation. The moment you become aware of this, you begin to see the hidden strings behind everything. You begin to read the code of the universe. The second step is learning to manipulate the flow. If reality is a fluid, then your will is the force that directs its movement. But most people try to impose their will through brute force, through desperate effort, through struggle. This is a mistake. The dark chosen ones do not fight against reality, they align with its deeper currents, then shift them at will. This is done through resonance. Whatever you wish to bring into existence, you must first become in frequency. If you desire power, you must embody power. If you seek destruction, you must radiate destruction. If you aim to alter the world, you must first alter yourself. But here is where it becomes dangerous, because the more you manipulate reality, the more reality pushes back. The universe does not like to be commanded by those who are not ready. Those who attempt to bend fate without true mastery often find themselves caught in unintended consequences, distorted manifestations, chaos that spirals out of their control. This is why awareness and precision are everything. It is not enough to simply want something, you must know exactly how to call it into existence, how to shape the unseen forces without letting them consume you. And this brings us to the greatest tool of the dark chosen ones, influence beyond the physical. True reality bending does not happen through direct action alone. It happens through the unseen, through silent shifts in energy, through forces that most will never perceive. This is why the most powerful dark chosen ones do not always appear as conquerors, warriors, or rebels. Some operate in the shadows, their influence felt but never recognized. Some control reality through thought alone, through intention so powerful that the universe itself moves to accommodate them. Some do not need to fight battles because the game is already won before it begins. But here is the ultimate question: what are you shaping reality for? Are you directing fate towards something meaningful, or are you merely bending it for the sake of your own desires? Because those who manipulate reality without wisdom, without a greater purpose, often find themselves trapped in the very illusions they sought to control. power without purpose leads only to destruction, not of the world, but of oneself. So ask yourself now, what is your true intent? And more importantly, are you ready to take full responsibility for the reality you create? Because once you step into this level of power, there is no turning back. You no longer live in the world, you become one of the forces shaping it. In the next part, we will explore the final stage of the Dark Chosen One's journey, transcending even power itself and becoming something beyond human limitations. The final ascension, how the Dark Chosen Ones transcend power and become more than human. There comes a point in the journey of the Dark Chosen Ones where power itself is no longer the goal, not because it has lost its importance, but because it has been mastered so completely that it no longer defines them. This is the final stage, the point where they transcend even the need for control and step into something beyond human limitation. At this level, they do not just shape reality, they become a force indistinguishable from it. They are no longer bound by identity, no longer trapped by the illusions of self, no longer constrained by the laws that govern the ordinary. Most who seek power stop at the ability to manipulate the external world. They believe that bending fate, influencing minds, or commanding unseen forces is the highest form of mastery. But the ultimate realization is that true ascension is not about controlling reality, it is about dissolving into it. The Dark Chosen Ones who reach this state no longer see themselves as separate from the universe. They become the current rather than the swimmer, the storm rather than one who fears it, the silence beyond all movement. But to reach this state, one must first let go of the final illusion, the self. This is the hardest challenge because the ego clings to form, to identity, to labels. The ego wants to be powerful, legendary, unstoppable. But the moment you define yourself, you create a limitation. The moment you say, "I am this," you exclude everything else that you could be. The final step for the Dark Chosen One is to erase the boundary between themselves and the infinite. This does not mean disappearing or losing individuality, it means no longer being bound by it. Imagine moving through the world without resistance, without attachment, without the need to prove anything to anyone. Imagine existing as pure force, shifting between roles effortlessly, becoming whatever is needed in the moment without hesitation. This is what it means to transcend power. But here is the paradox. When you no longer seek control, control becomes effortless. When you no longer chase power, power moves through you freely. When you no longer define yourself, you can become anything. This is the stage where the Dark Chosen Ones are no longer just individuals, they are forces of nature. They influence without speaking, reshape reality without effort, and exist in a state of constant transformation. At this level, fear no longer exists. Fear is a byproduct of attachment to survival, to reputation, to outcomes. But once you realize you are not a mere person but a manifestation of something far greater, what is left to fear? Death? It is nothing more than a transition. Failure? It does not exist when you move beyond the concept of winning and losing. Judgment? It does not matter when you no longer seek validation. And this is the ultimate freedom. The final ascension is not about acquiring more, it is about needing less. Less attachment, less resistance, less illusion. The most powerful beings in history were not those who held the most wealth, armies, or influence. They were those who had nothing to lose because they had already given up everything that made them small. They did not rule through force. They ruled through presence. Their mere existence altered the course of reality. So now the question is no longer about whether you are a Dark Chosen One. You already know the answer. The real question is, are you ready to let go of everything that limits you? Are you ready to step beyond identity, beyond the need for control, beyond the illusions of power? Are you ready to exist as something beyond human? Because if you are, then your journey does not end here. It begins now. You are no longer just playing the game. You are no longer just a force within it. You have become the game itself.